Smart Detox Facebook group, where we have the largest sauna detox group in the world. And I've become an expert on saunas from learning and studying, as well as learning from my group members. In today's video, I'm going to share with you the myths of these near-infrared saunas. It's the disinformation out there is absolutely unbelievable. And I'm going to share with you the truth, and I'm going to show you wavelength charts busting these myths of these light bulb saunas, these LED near-infrared saunas. It's just absolutely preposterous. And then I'm going to show you the only way to have a true full-spectrum sauna, which is what you want. So a lot of people are recommending full-spectrum saunas, and they're absolutely right. People like Dr. Mercola are recommending full-spectrum saunas because there's so many benefits to full-spectrum saunas, because traditionally saunas have just had far infrared, and that's a third of the wavelength. You need mid-infrared and you need near infrared as well. And so a lot of people have said, oh, let's go with these light bulb saunas. Well, these heat lamp bulbs. Well, there's two massive problems with these light bulb saunas. This is from a talk from Leanne Vinay at it's spelled Veneer, at the Bulletproof Conference. And she actually showed a wavelength. She's an infrared expert, and she showed a wavelength chart. And none of these people selling these saunas will actually show you a wavelength chart. And if they do, they probably made it up themselves. Leanne's independent, so she shows really reliable and accurate information. And so this is a chart showing that these heat lamps actually over here on the left is, in the middle section, is the near infrared. And these heat lamps hardly put off any near infrared. In fact, an incandescent light puts off like twice as much. So that's like the old style light bulbs. They put off twice as much. So if you want a near infrared sauna, you're better off to just get some regular old light bulbs and make a sauna out of those than these near infrared light bulbs. The other problem with these, quote, near infrared light bulbs is, in addition to not having hardly any near infrared, they're red. They're red in color. Well, how did they become red in color? Glass isn't red in color. Well, what they do to make them cheaply is they paint on a enamel coating, and they often even coat it with Teflon. If you Google Teflon light bulbs, heat lamps, you'll see that many of these are coated with Teflon. Well, I spent an entire day researching material safety data sheets, toxin migration levels, what toxins were in these coatings, contacting all the manufacturers. Spent like 10 hours doing this. And all the coatings on these bulbs are highly, highly toxic. Well, the problem is toxins migrate with heat, and these bulbs get really hot, and then you're in a confined area, mostly naked, breathing deeply, in an unventilated space. So the toxins are going to get into the air. You breathe them in, they soak in your pores. All the while you're saying, "Oh, I'm doing a detox." So these light bulb saunas are an absolute disaster, and the foolishness of them is further shown by their design. You'll notice how they put all the light bulbs in one area. Well, like, why would you only want infrared on your back? Not on your sides, not on your legs, not in your front. Oh, you're supposed to rotate, huh? It's like a rotisserie oven, right? No, any good sauna is going to have infrared on all sides, 360 degrees. So these are not recommended because they don't even have near infrared, and they're highly toxic. So please avoid these light bulb saunas. I don't even allow people to post about these in my group because there's just so much misinformation out there, and they're harmful. I'd rather see, if you don't have any money to get a sauna, use your bathtub. Get a bathtub filter and crank up your water heater and sweat out the toxins in your bathtub. Okay, so moving on from the light bulb saunas, let's check out the LED. What's interesting about LED is they have a lot of money for marketing. And so what happens is, this is a typical wavelength chart for LED. What happens when companies have money for marketing is they do all sorts of research and they have all sorts of clever information. Well, what's interesting is what they've done is they've taken specific wavelengths and they've tailored their LED bulbs for these wavelengths. And they say, oh, this is the optimal, perfect wavelength that's going to heal you. Well, if you want the optimal wavelength that's going to heal you, what you need to look at is you need to look at the solar spectrum. So on top here is a typical LED bulb, and the solar spectrum is below. Now you'll notice that the light from the sunlight, now UV can be dangerous for sure, no question about that. but we're just talking about the infrared here, which is very safe, very healing. Look at the nice even wavelength of the sunlight from near infrared to mid infrared to the right, and then to far infrared all the way on the right. It's a nice even wavelength. So my analogy for this is these, we'll talk about that in a second. But if you look, this is just a tiny blip. This is just a tiny blip in the infrared spectrum. And they say, oh, this is the most amazing healing part. This is all you need. Well, that's as stupid as saying that, oh, vitamin C is all you need. We've done the research of all the vitamins, and it turns out that vitamin C is all you need. Or vitamin D is all that you need. It's like, well, no, all the vitamins work together synergistically. That's the way nature works. Scientists don't work that way. They have reductionistic, hyper-focused thinking that isolates everything. But if you think holistically, like, you don't ever just see vitamin C in nature. It always has cofactors and other nutrients tied to it, and they work together synergistically. You can't just isolate the magic element of something and get all sorts of healing stuff. And in fact, that reduces the synergistic effect or eliminates it. So really, ideally, you'd want something that's similar to the solar spectrum. And if you don't believe me, Google heliotherapy. For hundreds, if not thousands of years, people have been going to high elevations and sunbathing and healing all sorts of ailments by doing that. So the question is how do we create, since LEDs obviously about the worst there is at creating near infrared, because like these Juve lights that are very popular, they put out about 2 to 3% of the overall near infrared spectrum. Well, you wouldn't take 2 to 3% of the different vitamins that you need. You take a good multivitamin that has everything, or food that has all the nutrients in various levels, in balanced levels. So when we scroll down here and look at the sunlight at the top, that's the black one. So over on the left, we have visible light, and then we have near infrared, which is in this section here in the center. And then off to the right, you have far infrared. So ideally, you'd have something that duplicates sunlight as closely as possible. Well, if you look at the different bulbs, they don't even put LEDs on here because they're just it'd just be this tiny little spike in near infrared. And it wouldn't be any far infrared, wouldn't be any mid infrared, just 2% of the wavelength of near infrared is all it would be. Just be this crazy little spike, which is just bizarre. You don't see spikes like that in nature anywhere. But man's dumb enough to make it. Well, they're smart enough because they make a ton of money off these cheap little plastic LED bulbs. Anyway, so what bulb duplicates sunlight the most? Oh, halogen bulbs. Look at that, the purple level right here. In fact, in some areas, it actually puts out a little bit more near infrared than the sunlight does, and definitely more mid infrared and more far infrared. But look at the nice gentle curve of the purple line here, and see how it parallels the sunlight in the far infrared spectrum and somewhat in the near infrared, as well as the actual visible. And incandescent has quite a bit less, depending on whether it's 3K or 2500. But you can see that halogen is unquestionably going to give you the complete, nice, even balance that duplicates the healing effects of the sunlight and gives you the full wavelength of all of the near infrared, not one tiny little spike, but all of the near infrared, all of the mid infrared, as well as some far infrared. So that's what halogen does. So you ask yourself, you say, well, wait a minute, why are none of these saunas, why are they all using LED bulbs? Well, because LEDs are dang cheap. Halogen bulbs are really expensive, and they have to be tailored a certain way. You can't just pop halogen light bulbs in the sauna. They have to be tailored a certain way. And so there's only one company, and it's funny because they don't even have a patent on this. So like any company could do this, but these other companies care about one thing and one thing only. And that's the bottom line. That's how much money they make. So the only company that I've seen that actually puts halogen heaters in their saunas is Jacuzzi Clearlight. And that is the sauna that I have. And you can see on the front of it, we'll pull this up here. On the front of it, they have two different product lines. They have a a far infrared only sauna, and then they have a full spectrum sauna. So under sauna models, they have a full spectrum one. And you can see they have these vertical heaters, and these are the halogen heaters. And these actually have 25 times the power because, and by the way, I'm not an employee of Clearlight. I'm a fiercely independent thinker who represents people in my group and helps people to heal. And that's why I recommend based on facts and the evidence rather than based on what's most profitable. There are many other saunas I could recommend that would be highly profitable to me. In fact, these sauna companies contact me constantly and they're like, hey, we'll give you this or we'll do this if you'll recommend our saunas. And I'm like, yeah, no, sorry, I'm not a sellout. I only recommend what I would use. Well, you can see, and Clearlight is the sauna that I have in my home, and you can see in this picture right here, in this kind of in the center of the screen, this is their vertical halogen heater. And that puts out the proper wavelength, a nice even wavelength form that we talked about a minute ago, and gives you true full spectrum. Saying that your sauna is full spectrum doesn't make it full spectrum. It actually has to be from the right type of heater. And that's these big heaters that you see. This is their double heaters in the outdoor sauna. And those are the halogen heaters. And those put out true full spectrum, not plastic, cheap little LED bulbs that are huge profit margins that only put out a tiny wavelength like this in this diagram. That's just ridiculous. That's crazy. That's not going to be good for you. Oh yeah, some studies will show the benefits, but the question that nobody asks is what else is it doing? What other imbalances is it causing? If you just took high-dose vitamin C and didn't take any other vitamins, what would happen? You'd create some massive imbalances. Well, the same thing happens with light. So what I would recommend, if you're not part of my Facebook group yet, is join my Facebook group, and I'll show you how to do that in just a second. You can search Smart Detox on Facebook. And if you're interested in one of these Clearlight saunas, our group members get a discount. And then I also provide some bonuses and expert support on saunas if you order through our group, because our group members get discounts on these saunas. And then I can also show you which of their sauna models that I recommend or don't recommend. A lot of their salespeople, unfortunately, are just new trainees or whatever. They're not sauna experts. And so they'll say, oh, yeah, just put get the Premier and put a full spectrum heater in that. Well, what they don't tell you is that that's only a 300 watt heater, and you, because of the inverse square law, you only get 1/8 of the full spectrum that you would get in the actual sanctuary, which is why the sanctuary is what I have. So anyway, if you want a discount on one of these saunas, you want some expert sauna support, you have some questions, just join our Facebook group. It's called the Smart Detox Facebook group. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please pause this video, and all you have to do is really simple, is type in fbl.me. So like Frank Bill Larry.me /detox, fbl.me /detox in your browser. And that will take you to our Facebook group. And we have a free detox book that tells you how to detoxify 10 times faster by using a particular B vitamin before you jump in the sauna, and all sorts of resources. Like we have 17,000 group members. Why? Why do we have so many? Because we provide really, really awesome information. So there are some Clearlight saunas that I do recommend, and there are actually some models that I don't recommend. And so you'll have to contact me to find out which ones those are. And there's even some that I can get you that aren't even on their website. So anyway, so what you do, join our Facebook group, fbl.me /detox. And I'm this guy right here. And you can message me. You can reach out to me. You'll see I do a lot of posts in the group. And you can message me. I'm the one on the right here, in case you were wondering. The left is my dog, Shiloh. And message me, and I can help hook you up on a sauna and make a recommendation for you based on your individual needs. I actually do a customized needs assessment for our group members and evaluate their situation, everything from electrical to size to use. And most people are looking for a sauna. They're not experts, so they don't even know the right questions to ask. So I help you to do that. So join our Facebook group and send me a message with your question about saunas. If you're wondering about brand ABC of saunas, then just let me know, and I'll share with you what my group members have shared with me, because I've gotten more feedback on saunas than anybody else in the world, because my 17,000 group members let me know whether their saunas are low in EMF or whether they're high in toxins or various things. And also in the group, I actually have a sauna information guide, which is an absolutely awesome resource that tells you exactly what to look for. It's in the files section of our group. It tells you exactly what to look for in a sauna. Absolutely amazing, very helpful. It's taken my 3 years of research on saunas, and it has summarized it and helped you to know what to exactly look for in a sauna, save you thousands of dollars and hundreds of hours of research. So that's all in the Facebook group. That's FBL, frankbilllarry.me/detox. If you're watching this on YouTube, man, please don't watch the next video yet. Just pause the video, type it in your browser, because otherwise you might forget and miss out, and you do not want to miss out on this. Be like, oh, dang it, what was that group on Facebook? No, this is the best group there is. Come join us, and I look forward to seeing you there, and shoot me a message and say hi. And hopefully I can figure out how to stop this video. I'm a sauna expert, but I am not an internet expert.